Subscribe to Techo on YouTube or you will forever be a bot at Fortnite.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So, I've received a lot of questions from my subscribers asking what the best sensitivity is, whether they should play high sense, low sense, or something in between. That being said, in this video, I'll be going over all the aspects of a good sensitivity, which one I personally use, and what you should do to reach as high a skill level as possible with your sensitivity. One thing I'd like to quickly mention is that this video is mostly for mouse and keyboard, but if you'd like to see a controller version, definitely let me know in the comments, as that's something I'm considering doing. If enough of you want it, I'm happy to deliver. Before we properly get into it, if you guys go on to enjoy this video, a like would be hugely appreciated, and it would mean a lot to me if you could consider subscribing as well, if you'd like to see more content like this. So anyway, there are going to be multiple sections in this video, so I'll put a timestamp up to each section if you want to skip right to one, but I'd really recommend watching the whole video, as after watching this video, you'll have a complete understanding of everything you need to know about your sensitivity. My goal with this video is that after watching this, you'll have a complete understanding of everything related to your Fortnite sense and be able to optimize it to make you the best player you can be. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, let's start by actually going over what sensitivity is, how it impacts your gameplay, and how you can calculate and categorize yours and other players' sensitivities. Let's start with what sensitivity actually is. Essentially, sensitivity refers to how far you have to move your mouse, or I suppose controller stick, to make your camera move in a certain direction. It's essentially a ratio of how far you move your mouse to how far your camera moves in-game. Sensitivity is usually represented in one of two ways, by centimeters per 360 degree turn, or cm/360 for short, and EDPI. EDPI is mostly used for Fortnite though, so we'll be mainly focusing on that here. So, what EDPI is essentially the DPI, or dots per inch setting of your mouse, multiplied by your in-game sensitivity in decimal form. For the sake of example, let's use the sensitivity of Tfue. According to ProSettings.net, Tfue uses 400 DPI with a 10% in-game sensitivity, so we multiply 400 times 0.10 to get 40. So Tfue's EDPI is 40. Pretty simple, right? To categorize your sensitivity, it typically goes something like this for Fortnite from what I've seen. Low sensitivity is 48 or lower, medium sense is anywhere from 49 to 90, and 90 plus is considered high. Now that we've got the basic calculations of sensitivity down, and have a solid foundation, let's get into the different types of sensitivities. So, let's first go over the type of sensitivity used by a number of mechanically insane pros, most notably Mr. Savage and Benji Fishy. The main reason players use a super high sensitivity is for faster editing and building. You may watch someone who plays high sensitivity and notice their mechanics are absolutely on point with insanely quick and flashy building and editing, but you also might see that they tend to whiff a lot of shots unless they've had a ton of aim practice. The thing about players like Savage and Benji that sets them apart from this stereotype is their insane high sensitivity aim. As we all know, aiming is a skill. Just like it's possible, but a lot harder, to become a pro player on a 60Hz monitor, it's the same concept with high sensitivity. You can have insane aim on high sensitivity, but it takes a lot more practice and grind than it does on low sensitivity to master it. The thing about high sensitivity is that your building and editing will be far ahead, but your aim might fall behind. But if you manage to practice your aim consistently and get really good with it, you can enjoy the benefits of both. One main reason pros are switching to higher sensitivities, and something that Jarian outlined really well in his Why Pros Are Raising Their Sense video, is that this meta is all about those 50-50 box fights. In this meta, with the removal of traps, if you have insane aim, especially if you're on controller, there's really little risk in simply jumping into somebody's box and trying to kill them that way. It's super annoying to deal with, especially if someone's doing it to you, but that's simply the meta right now. To adapt to this meta, a lot of pros, most notably Booga and also Zexro, who's notorious for always having played on a pretty low sensitivity, are all raising their sensitivities to match this meta. A higher sensitivity allows for better flick shots, more awareness in box fights, and the ability to move your camera extremely quick, which is especially helpful when somebody decides to psycho into your box. Moving on to low sensitivity, this is the type of sensitivity used by pros like Mongrel, Tfue, Zayt, and Cooler Aqua, one of the Duo World Cup champions. Lower sensitivities have a lot of benefits, especially in terms of your aim. This goes mostly for your tracking aim, especially in mid-range when people use launch pads, running around, etc, etc. Having a lower sensitivity will allow you to track and make micro adjustments more accurately from this range. The issue with lower sensitivities, however, comes in terms of your building and editing. Imagine having to literally crank your mouse across your mouse pad to hit a flick shot, or having to do the exact same thing whenever you're trying to pull off difficult techniques. It's just so much more fatiguing, and especially in this meta, low sensitivities are a lot rarer to find. Your aim might improve a solid amount, but your building and editing might end up struggling quite a bit, and those quick techniques you can pull off on high sensitivity will be a lot more difficult, if not impossible. You may already know my opinion simply from what I've been saying, but it definitely seems to me like high sensitivity is going to be the new meta, at least for the foreseeable future. Being able to flick super fast, build and edit at insane speeds, and have better control in close range fights, all while having the opportunity to practice and develop great aim as well, it just seems too good to pass up considering what the meta is right now. What I'd recommend doing is setting your sensitivity between 60 and 120 EDPI depending on how important aim is to you and if you have the time to practice it consistently. If you can't work on your aim consistently every day, then the lower side would definitely be better for you, as you'll naturally aim better on a lower sensitivity without practicing it much. But keep in mind, if you want the best of both worlds, I'd recommend staying above 80 or so and consistently practicing your aim. In terms of mid-range aim, I'd recommend lowering your ADS sensitivity by a lot, even going potentially as low as 20 or 30%, so you can maintain that insane mid-range aim while also having your normal sensitivity in box fights. So now that you know most of what there is to know about sensitivity, let's discuss what you should do when choosing your sensitivity. To start, as I've already said, I recommend sticking to or at least near the 60 to 120 EDPI range. Second, you have to think about whether or not you would have a good amount of time to train your aim. Mechanics are mostly pretty easy to get down, but your aim is definitely the hardest among them, and it takes a lot of time. If you can't grind Kovacs or in-game aim trainers quite as much, I would definitely recommend sticking to the lower side of the range, as you'll have the natural good aim that comes with a lower sensitivity. Third, consider the meta. Right now, in Chapter 2 Season 2 when I'm recording this, the meta is definitely more of a jump in your box and 50-50U type of playstyle, so having a higher sensitivity helps a ton with this, allowing you to keep better awareness and flick to an opponent in your box if they decide to jump on you. Fourth, consider how well you play on all types of sensitivity. If you have insane aim, great mechanics, and you're able to play the 50-50 meta pretty well on a low sense, there's no real need to switch. The same goes if you have great aim along with the rest of the package on a higher sense. Above all else, it depends on your playstyle, skill set, and experience. Finally, above everything else I've said, it ultimately comes down to what you feel comfortable with. Don't only take my advice. Sure, this is a great video for most people, but if you prefer and feel like you play better on a sensitivity I haven't recommended, then by all means, go ahead and use it. We're all different. You might have a super high or a super low sensitivity, and that's fine, as long as you play well and you're confident with it. But anyway guys, I really hope this video helped you out. If this helped you out and you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing if you'd like to see more. Let me know down in the comments what type of sensitivity you personally prefer, because I'm really curious what you all play on. And also, if you want to support my channel even further, you can use code TECHO in the Fortnite item shop to help me out even more. It's absolutely free for you and it helps me out a ton. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video and that it helps you out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.